Hello everyone, this is Ms. Chima, the secondary school counselor at Sunrise School, and I'd like to wish everyone a Ramadan Kareem during this holy month of Ramadan. Today I'd like to talk to you about self-regulation. Why self-regulation? Self-regulation is actually a very important aspect of any one person's development, and with our children it is something that we can teach them. It is a learned skill, and it is very important for anyone to be able to have a calm and peaceful life. It allows us to make healthy choices, to have healthy behaviors, and it allows us to actually manage stress, frustration, adapt to change, to be part of a social system, a social network, form connections. So indeed, self-regulation is an extremely important skill that anyone can have. And so why not teach it to our children from as early on as possible, because it is important to learn as early on as possible. Now, what is self-regulation? Self-regulation is really about two different things. It's about emotional regulation and it's about behavioral regulation. So it's got two different components to it, what we feel and think and how we behave as well. It allows us to actually take any event and respond to it. So we're not behaving or feeling any sort of excessive amount of emotion or manifesting any excessive amount of behavior, which could actually be harmful or unhealthy in the situation that we're in. I think of it a little bit like a thermostat on an air conditioner. You know, when you have like an air conditioner and a thermostat, you set the temperature at a certain point or a set point, and what the thermostat does is it regulates the temperature in the room, and it switches the AC on and off according to that set point. So self-regulation is a little bit like that, where we have a balance point for our emotions and behavior, which is a healthy balance point. And the skills of self-regulation, what they do is they actually allow us to maintain that balance point, so that whatever event that we're facing, whatever event our children face, they're able to actually come back to that balance point. Now, how do we teach our children self-regulation? One of the things is to actually use teaching strategies that are real, which means that we use moments that are real to teach our children how to self-regulate. Self-regulation is a set of different tools that we build into a repertoire as we grow older to be able to have that system in place. So, you know, for example, if there's a conflict or a trauma or a tantrum at home, then talk your child through that situation or that event. You know, try and help them to identify the why. Why are they feeling this way? Why are they behaving this way? And once they've cooled down, discuss and reflect with them on what they could have done that was different, that would have helped them, what they could have done that is a little bit more healthy, for example, making a choice in terms of behavior or response. So discussion, reflection, analysis of the event is really important so that they understand for future references as well. You know, one way of doing that is to remind them of the higher goal, remind them of the bigger picture. What is it that they're actually, what is their objective through all of it? For example, when it comes to the younger children, and say your younger child is throwing a tantrum because he or she doesn't want to share their toy with another child, remind them of the fact that the other child is a friend of theirs, that has been a friend of theirs and will be a friend of theirs as well tomorrow. And so, you know, maybe they can actually share the toy with the friend now, and then afterwards, when they're alone, they can play with the toy on their own. So, you know, also make sure that you get across that you understand that self-regulation is not easy, because it's about impulse control, and that's never easy for anyone. It's a learned process. So acknowledge the fact that yes, it's not easy. It takes patience. Learning patience is not easy. Learning impulse control is not easy. With the older children, for example, you know, if it's exam period and they need to study, you know, help them to understand that there is a higher goal even there. Going to university or getting a job that they've always dreamed of, that is their higher goal. And if they don't study now, then those, you know, these are all small steps in that process. So let them understand that and see that. So let there be a connection to the bigger picture in terms of what is happening today. One of the other things that I always say is it's important to give our children autonomy, which is a sense of control of their choices so that they're able to make their own plans. Why? Because this is how they learn how to choose the right thing, how to plan the right way as well. So, when it comes to the younger ones, for example, if it's about eating vegetables, let them choose which vegetables that they'd like to eat first. So let there be a structure, let the boundaries still exist, be consistent with the rules, the regulations, and the boundaries. However, within that framework, let the child have autonomy. For the older ones, it's important for them to be able to plan their study schedule, to plan their days themselves, so that they learn how to make the right choices, they learn how to schedule themselves, they learn how to almost discipline themselves as well, so that they have a structure for themselves. And finally, as parents, and this is a difficult thing to do, I understand, is to let go. As parents, we are so tempted to hover over our children, to help them, to protect them, to make sure they don't make mistakes. But the thing about self-regulation is that it's about allowing them to make those choices and to make those, to take those actions, and then discussing it with them and helping them understand whether those choices were the right ones or the wrong ones. So it's about letting go. It's about providing a supportive framework around them and then letting go. So one example I can give is if your child is having a problem with a math homework that they're doing, instead of hovering over them and sitting with them and doing all of it with them, which might actually stress them out even more, not only stressing yourself out, maybe, one of the ways to do this is to be able to do one problem with them, show them how to do it, and then walk away and let them take care of the rest of the homework themselves. They may be able to do it, they may not. Maybe they'll come back to you for help, so you can always let them know that you're around, but you're not sitting with them to do the work for them. So, this is a sort of supportive way of helping them to also learn how to work out the problem on their own. Now, some of the sort of last points I'd like to leave you with when it comes to self-regulation is, one, it's a learning experience, which means that it's going to be something that we learn throughout our lives. And the best way for us to teach our children is to model it ourselves, which means to actually have a reflective, analytical environment around our children, so we actually model the behavior and model the impulse control ourselves. Now, just a little bit of science behind it. The organization of the brain system occurs when it comes to the underlying sort of parts of self-regulation and patterns of self-regulation between the ages of 0 and 3 years old. Between 3 and 5, there's a rapid development, and then between 5 and 7, it sort of matures. And then once our children hit puberty, between 13, 14, 15, you'll see that their behaviors change, that the hormones kick in, their thought patterns change, their emotions change, so they sort of relearn the entire system, they realign the system as well. So these are important ages for boys and girls. And then again, it starts to grow slowly until about 30, when our self-regulation set of skills are pretty much set. Now, partly it is nature, partly it is nurture. Yes, we learn from the environment as well. And then after 30, of course, we continue to grow through our experiences. So, if there's anything more you'd like to know about self-regulation, please feel free to contact me.